Okay.
Ethics. A woman's role in the economy. Is it morally acceptable for women to stay at home instead of pursuing their own career in the economy? The pros. It can bring the household more income. In today's economy, taxes are really high, so it's becoming a burden for single mothers or mothers to stay at home and raise the kids instead of going out and bringing more income into the household. The median annual earnings for full-time year-round women workers in 2012 was $37,791, so it's more money into the household for the kids. There's more equality / representation in government. So when women are at home, their views and values aren't being lost in the workplace or in the government. And it gives an example to girls that women can do a man's job or even do it better. So men tend to think, oh, women should stay at home, but no, we can actually go out and do the same job, if not do it better, and also provides girls an example to look up to instead of just their mom at home cooking. And the cons. Working women may not have late hours and may not come home to their child as if they were just coming home from school. It can put strain on marriages if two parents are working in the household. They may not have a lot of intimacy, and family may rarely see each other as like family greetings. And the motherly touch may be forgotten. If your mother's working all the time, you may like not get the same amount of kindness and tenderness from your father. In the verdict, women holding an economic position can lead to more diversity and representation in the world. Women should not be afraid to pursue their own passions and careers, and women should not feel less of themselves for staying at home and tending to the family. Yeah.
Men's control over women. Control is the power to influence or direct someone's opinions, direct someone's actions. So the oppression of women stems largely from men's desire for power and control. Usually men want to tell women whether they have the choice to stay home. They stay home mom will have like a position like in jobs. And it's not always a negative thing. Sometimes it can be positive because they want to provide for their family. But also it could be because they prefer to have more income in the household. So yeah, next slide. Over the course of years, things have been changing with stay-at-home dads. Instead of women having to be stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads could be like an option too. There was also this blog that in research we found that just because either job loss or just wanting to stay home with the kids, dads been staying home. So yeah, things have been changing.
This is a quick chart of how a woman's power has changed over time. And we have from the 1400s into present day, 2014, and the position and power of a woman. So in the 1400s, a woman's place was basically determined by the closest a woman's place was determined by the closest male to her. So this is her husband, her father, or any brothers. Their choices were limited even if they were rich. In this era, most women were seen solely as for reproduction and nothing more. In fact, it wasn't uncommon for a man to have a wife and kids, but also like a male lover on the side, just because men thought that they were superior in every way. So, going to the 1800s and from 1800s to 1930s, women were expected to restrict themselves from everything but the home and family. They weren't encouraged to obtain a real education or pursue a professional career, but then in the 1900s they started working in textile mills and garment shops. And in the 1920s it kind of marked a significance because flapper girls came to be, and they kind of symbolized a new woman. You know, they didn't dress so conservative. You know, it was kind of all gone. So it was the short dresses and the short hair and the dances and all of it. It just symbolized women's freedom. So then, although the dramatic increase of working women, still only 19% of mothers worked out of home. And from the 1940s to the 1960s, the stereotypical housewife was born, and this was the woman that stayed at home and she cooked and cleaned and take care of the kids. and she pleased her man no matter what, and she still looked amazing. So it was basically TV that brought that stereotype to you. But then the image of the proper housewife began to diminish in the 1970s, and then in the 1980s there were a significant number of firsts for women. There was the first female Supreme Court justice, the first female astronaut, and then in the 90s, the U.S. women's rights evolved a third wave called feminism. So today the percentage of housewives has dropped to only 29% of stay-at-home moms. And the only struggle with that is that stay-at-home moms are not guaranteed whether they will be financially stable, even if the husband works.
Okay, so I will be introducing the counter argument. And right here we have, it is right to have a woman stay at home because that is their place. To cook, clean, take care of the kids. This was a woman's role back in the day, and that is how it should remain. So what I'm first going to do is go through where exactly did this idea that women should stay at home really come from. So there's pretty much three main things, but in today's world, today's society, in the 21st century in the Western world, the idea that men and women possess specific characteristics that make one superior or even inferior to the other is pretty controversial. However, back in the 18th century, this was practically a universal concept. So the three things that came about this idea was Christian ideology. If you look back in the Bible, many verses can be said that men were superior to women and that women should, attend to the husband, attend to the family, and that was their role. Another was classical thought, just being, as Alex said, that men were always seen as superior to women, and that's just how people thought back in the day. And contemporary science and medicine said that the study of bodies were that women were weaker and more emotional, etc., leading to the statement that men were stronger and superior to women. Men were the primary wage earners, while women were expected to be responsible for the house, work, and childcare. All these things led to become that women should stay at home, and that's how it went for quite some time. But the question we can now ask is why change? And for our presentation, I hope you guys can understand that women have a lot more to offer to this economy and to the world than just a stereotype of, women only take care of kids, women can only cook, clean. They have way more to offer. But still we have people in the mindset that it is the woman's job. And that can be led back to maternal instinct. So, during my research, I came across a doctor named Dr. Singh who spoke on modern day society and the family unit, and he believed that the maternal instinct a woman develops while carrying the child makes her more suitable to take care of the family. But there are some truths about maternal instinct. In a study that scientist Sarah Blaffer-Hardy, she disagrees. Scientist Sarah Blaffer-Hardy was a professor emeritus of anthropology at the University of California at Davis, and she also wrote a book called Mother Nature, A Wisdom of the Mothers. She studied primates for more than 30 years and that believes this maternal instinct may in fact be something that is learned and not something we're born with. A person who is devoted to raising a child will develop traits that better suit that person to take care of a child. And so we have reached our conclusion that is it right to force a woman to stay at home to raise a family opposed to holding a position of power? And the answer we came up with was no. Women have more to offer in the economy than a sexist stereotype of a stay-at-home mom. And we're not saying that stay-at-home moms are bad. All we're saying that it's not right to force this responsibility upon a mother, and that if it happens to be the best choice for the family, then so be it.
Thank you.
Did you come across any studies, I know that you might not have, but did you come across any studies which compare children raised by stay-at-home dads to children raised by stay-at-home moms? No? Okay. And economically, the families that have, are families, is there any difference or is there any advantage one way or the other to families where both parents work or one where one parent works, so the traditional man works?
Well, there's more income coming in if two parents work. And then sometimes it can be a hardship if the mother stays at home and then, yeah, it's a family.
Okay.
Can I go back to the first question for a second?
Sure.
Could you repeat that? Because I was thinking about it.
I wonder if there was any studies that compared children raised by stay-at-home dads to children raised by stay-at-home moms.
Well, I didn't come across a specific study. Just reading upon what scientist Sarah Blaffer-Hardy, she's the one who came with the idea that there's no such thing as maternal instinct. So me interpreting that, I would say whether you're raised by a mother or father or both, it more solely depends upon how determined and how focused they are on the child and how much heart they have into raising the child. So let's say if it was a father, it wouldn't matter if it was a father or mother, it just matters the effort that they put into it. Although I don't come across a study, that's just how I interpret it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else have questions? No? Oh.
Okay,
No. I just have my hand.